We're going to try to answer a question. The question is, how do I integrate generative AI into my startup? And to talk about this, we're going to see two people that you've seen on stage already from Lydon and Gladia. Hello. Yes. There you go. Have a seat.
Hello.
So now I understand why all these people are coming from the back of the room, because this is where they can plug in. There you go.
Hi.
So with me, Laurent Daudet from Lydon and Jean-Louis Keguiner from Gladia. First of all, for those of our friends here who were not here before, or those watching just for the replay, can you introduce yourself and your company?
Hello everyone. My name is Laurent Daudet. I'm a co-CEO and co-founder at Lydon. Lydon is a company like a pure player in generative AI. We've been doing that before it was even trendy. Although we started Lydon in 2016, we pivoted to Gen AI in 2020, and we've been doing two things. First, we've been building LLMs. Last time I counted, I think we've built 12 LLMs in different languages, and even one for proteins and so on. So building LLM is one thing, and the other thing we've built is a platform for the enterprise to manage all the life cycle of the LLM within the companies. So from deploying to user management to feedback collection to fine tuning. On this platform is called Paradigm. It's being used by some large organization, public and private sector, and I think that's it.
Jean-Louis?
So Jean-Louis Keguiner, I'm the CEO and founder of Gladia. We are specialized in speech recognition. One of the generative aspects of the technology that we use is an architecture that's pretty close to LLMs, which is called encoder and decoder. And one of the reasons we use this generative AI architecture is to make it extremely intelligent in a human way, meaning like it's able to figure out the good ways to speak and the good ways to make up your sentences in opposition to previous systems that were purely I would say phonetic based when you're looking up in the dictionary. So you don't understand the context, you're just looking into the words. So that's one of the unknown aspect of the generative AI is the audio part for the understanding. But it's actually what's happening in your brain. If I'm missing some words, then you're gonna make it up in your brain. So that's the technology we use behind the scene.
That makes sense. The reason we wanted to have you on stage today is to talk about the fact that obviously we are at a moment in time where everyone and anyone who can quote AI beside their company name feels like they've harnessed lightning in a bottle, and so we find technology is cyclical. 15 years ago, everyone wanted to be a cloud company, then everyone was a SaaS company, and now everyone is an AI company. So whether it's true or not, all of these startups have to ask themselves a question. Do I need to integrate AI into my company, into my services? How do I do it? How efficient is it? How much is it going to cost? And these are all the questions we're going to have to answer today. First of all, can you think of any technological endeavor, I would say, that should not integrate AI today?
Well, I think if you, myself, if I see that as a startup founder, if you wonder whether you should integrate AI or not, probably you don't. It's likely because if you need AI, you know it. I mean, it means that it's at the core of your product, and it's going to be something that's transformative. And if as a startup founder, you only concentrate on what's needed.
If we talk about other things than AI, which I do agree, if you ask yourself, I mean, maybe it's not the right place. If you think about all the companies, I think even if you are a startup, you need to think about integrating the AI is for your customers, actually. So it's a bit like 20 years ago asking yourself, do I need to go to the web? Maybe, maybe not. Sometimes it doesn't make sense. But at least your customers, on their side, will have to ask themselves the same questions, and you need to adapt to their own needs. So whatever is going to happen, whatever business you do, you need to ask yourself the question either for you or for your customers, because everyone will be impacted.
I would add as well that there are many things that we call AI today that is, Gen AI is not...
that is just software.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. So it's been, there are many ways of doing AI, and that if you do a linear regression, is that is that AI as well?
Notice how we don't talk about like big data or anything anymore? Yeah. Where did that go? I wonder. So let's assume I am starting a company that would benefit from integrating LLMs. How do I do it? On one side, it seems fairly easy because there's so many things that are open source. I mean, it's all out there. I don't have to recreate the wheel, to reinvent the wheel. At the same time, there's a lot of actually pretty, pointed questions that I have to ask myself, correctly?
Yeah, absolutely. So there is really the question whether you want to do open source or proprietary. It's a very there is no good answer to that question. Sometimes it's better to go for the completely closed models, like for instance OpenAI models, and that are extremely good models, extremely efficient, and extremely well integrated within, say, Microsoft product and so on. So this is one good choice. But another equally good choice is to go with open source models. Just as you say, it's getting easier and easier. It's not still completely. First choosing which model you want to use, it's already a challenge, and then deploying. It's not always as easy, although it's becoming easier over time with some framework. I don't know, like AWS Bedrock, or some of the frameworks make it easier and easier for you to play with these models, or Hugging Face, of course.
There is one thing, though. What I usually say these days is that it's not just the how fantastic the technology is; it's how amazingly fast things are progressing. Yeah. I mean, I always say, remember a year ago we were generating pictures of people with 7 fingers. Look how fast and how far we've gone in just months, pretty much.
That's correct. And in the LLM world, we've seen, like last week with the Llama 3 series of models, for instance, some very small models that seem to be extremely capable, even as good as much larger models. So it's not always the larger the better. Sometimes the trade-offs are somewhat at a different place. Yeah,
we've gone from, we'll never have enough power to power all the servers needed to power your AI, to, don't worry, it'll run on your phone.
Yeah, it's happening like actually last night with Microsoft Free.
I know.
So on my side, I think there are 5 dimensions to this kind of decisions. The first one is it depends on the stage of maturity that you have. If you're a startup, did you find the product market fit? Do you have financing or not? Is it critical to your business? That's the kind of question you need to ask. Are you doing a fundamental technical thing? If it's not the case, just use a service off the shelf. It's going to save you times, energy, more focus on your product and your customers. That's the most important thing. We talked about capital just before. With the, I really love what they said about not taking the capital sometimes. There are 2 things that are limited in the world. The first one is your time, and the second one is your capital. So you need to be very cautious with those 2 elements. The rest is just money. It comes and goes. And so the question is which stage you are in the company. If you're not mature, don't try to build the things by yourself. Just buy it off the shelf. Try to find the PMF, focus on that, and then you will find ways to figure out how to get that within your company if it makes sense, if it's fundamental to your business and to the value of the company and to the IP. That's the first thing. And then you have 4 other things that are depending mainly on your customers and your use case, which is, first one is the quality. The second one is the speed. The third one, I would say, is the cost. And the 5th one is the privacy. And you need to think about the four one. Sometimes you don't care. If you're focusing on the US market, you don't care about privacy. That's something you don't care about. On our hand, for instance, in audio, in speech to text, we are seeing, and within the company, within the product, you can have different approach. Sometimes they care about the quality and they care about the price. But if you go on another product, which is doing the same thing, transcription at real time, people care about the speed. They don't care about the privacy. They don't care about the cost as of now. And it can change in 24 months. So the thing is like, there is also a temporality over those 5 axes. The stage that you are, and also the stage of the market, which is kind of the abscess and the, I don't know, say that in English. Anyways, you got it. And then the 4 pillars, which are the privacy, as I said, the cost, the speed, and I forgot another one, but you got it. And so there is no right or wrong answer. It depends on your use case, and most importantly, and the most important thing, it depends on what your customer are asking, and those are the ones that deciding what they actually need.
You have just answered like 12 questions.
Sorry, man.
But that's okay. If you are ready to, step on the gas, what are the technical things you should think about, worry about? What are the right and wrong choices that you should make or not make?
That's. I think Jean-Louis already answered most of the question. I think the question of privacy, I think, is a key one, because if you, you don't want to use, for instance, ChatGPT on data that you want to keep private, and that's sort of obvious, but not for everyone. I think what was your question again?
No. Do you have to worry about infrastructure? Do you have to worry about how you deploy?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, how many infrastructure and how you deploy depend on how many users you will have, and is it only for internal use of the company, or is it for all your clients? That's really how you scale your deployment.
And the other thing is like you should be very careful about the number of infrastructure that are available. It's very, very, very hard right now to get infrastructure. Yeah, it is so fucking hard. Just go on runpod.io and you will find there is no Hey 100. You just go on OVH, they release the Hey 100, there is no Hey 100 anymore. They released the L4 last week. There was no L4. So they rack new GPUs every week, but it's going super fast. Between OpenAI and Microsoft, they're kind of fighting each other to get the delivery from NVIDIA, from each other. And kind of, the goal is not who's going to buy, is who's going to be deliver the GPU faster. So it's like a real fight right now.
I heard of companies raising money just by showing their order form for the GPUs that they were going to get.
Yeah, that's right.
That's insane. So maybe we're in a bit of a bubbly time where AI is concerned, but it is delivering. And it's delivering faster than anything I've seen in the last 20 years. I can't even imagine where we'll be in a year. And maybe in a year we won't even ask ourselves the question, should I integrate, should I do it? How efficient, how am I going to do it? Because the state of the market will have changed.
Yes, you're completely right. I think we have not seen any technological shift that goes as fast. I mean, not as far as I can tell. And it's very likely that we'll have more and more of these tools that we use every day that will integrate GenAI anyway. So it's just as you say, it will not be a question whether to use it or not. You will use it even without even noticing.
So one of the things that I think has changed between the different, you said like we had the data in the past and then now we have GenAI. And we talk about also machine learning, remember in the past. I think one thing that is key to generative AI is the generative part. Means that you don't need configuration and you don't need data input that are specific to the company to make it work. If you want to have a good speech to text, you have a speech to text. If you want to have a bot, you have a bot. If you want this to understand whatever documentation, you don't have to actually restructure the documentation into a database, whatever. It's going to crawl the system, it's going to give you the answers. So one of the things that make it like widely adopted and widely changing the landscape is that you don't need those governance model that you used to have in big data that needs like all the IT to make everyone agree, to share the data, the scope, blah, 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 blah. So that's one of the key things that make it like booming very fast.
Yeah, I would add as well that one of the key thing with Gen AI is that we are living this very special moment in time where AI is no more a matter of engineering or scientists. I mean, everyone can prompt an AI model. So it's I think it's really opening the field for like within companies. So I think that's the really key argument is everyone is using it now.
Any questions in the room about how or why or how much? Okay, well that settles it. Oh yes. All right.
So about Kate's video, no, I'm kidding. How to not push AI's buttons, because I'm using Perplexity every day as a search engine, I'm afraid to say. And it can become like upset quite quickly. And it's a surprise.
Upset, you mean Perplexity is upset?
Well, it's like, you got it wrong. I mean, I'm saying it nicely. You got it wrong. And then it starts to hallucinate.
Oh yeah, hallucination is a big part of Gen AI, but like your brain.
So how do you
It's
have
like
any
everyone's brain.
recommendation?
If I show you video saying that the Earth is flat, at some point you're going to believe it.
So how to prevent that?
It's very hard to prevent. It's like you just need to show the truth and align on the truth. So it's like a human brain. You can see and make things. It's just statistical thing. So you look at something and then you look at the most statistical thing that happened after. So if you watch plenty of video of the Earth is flat, then I'm going to tell you the Earth is, and they're going to say flat. This is the most frequent word that you've seen after. So the question is the quality of the data, and we have a big problem now because most of the sites are being now human generated. What's going to happen in 5 years? There are already some potholes on the internet right now that are being crawled by OpenAI, and some people are like, there are satiric sites, and people are looking at this, and they say, oh, I've seen the spider crawling my satiric website. I need to call OpenAI to tell them not to get the data into the model, because it's a crappy website, it's made on purpose, it's jokes, etc. So we have big problems. It's going to get worse and worse because now AI is hallucinating and generating some content that will be hallucinating more and more. And we have seen that in audio, to be honest. OpenAI released an open source model called Whisper, and they released another one that was Whisper Large V3. So what they did, they took the output of the V2 and they ingest that into the same model to have more data to feed the new model. And all the hallucination they had on the first model were even bigger into the second one. So an hallucination is just a statistic that shouldn't be there, but is too big, and it shouldn't be there. It's like a big vector, a big number that shouldn't be there. It should be smaller. And a good one, a reality, should be higher. So the problem that we have, and I'm seeing in the next 5 years, 10 years, is that those vectors, those numbers that shouldn't be there, should be smaller, will get bigger and bigger because everyone is generating content. So that's the big risk that I see with AI in the next few years.
Yeah, it's true that when you build an LLM, you have to have training data that's both a lot of training data, like Tera tokens, like huge amount of data, but you also need high quality data. So and that's the hard trade-off. The way we deploy it at Lighton for most companies is not to use just pure Gen AI, is to deploy a system that's called RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation, which is like this this combination of search engine and generative AI. And in that way, the model, you ask a question and the model try to retrieve only within a set of documents the answer to the question, and the model is able to, if the model doesn't find any answer in the set of documents that you have, it will say it. So it doesn't hallucinate in a RAG model.
It's going to be one of the biggest problems actually in the next few years. And among the paper in AI that are the most important, one of them is Attention is All You Need, which is the kind of the paper that raised all the Gen AI, including image. And there was one paper that was released last week that said data quality, qualitative data, or data quality is all you need. Saying like you can train a better model with like 10 less data, with like 10 less more compute, and still having a better model. So the quality is really the big point.
Okay, that's all the time we have. Let's thank our panelists.